Hey guys, so I've got some new Tom Ford stuff, and I've just been sitting here debating whether or not I wanted to do a full face of Tom Ford, basically a full face of Tom Ford, or do I want to just jump right into the new products? So I think we have enough Tom Ford fans here that I think a full face would be appreciated. Maybe. I'll put timestamps down below to let you know when I get into the new stuff. But the new stuff we're going to be talking about is the two new Skin Illuminating Powder Duos. I have Flicker, which is much too deep for my skin tone, but I had to get it anyway because it's beautiful. And Incandescent, which is definitely more for my skin tone. So those are the two new ones, and they're a follow-up to Moodlight, which I also have. I don't know if I need to compare all of these, but I will swatch them next to one another. And I also picked up the Tom Ford Lavender Extreme Lipstick. I came across this completely by mistake. I was on the Harrods site because actually a friend of mine was asking if the meteorites was still available there, blah, blah, blah. They've been sold out. I don't know if they're coming to the US. I have not seen them here. I don't know what's going on. I hope they arrive to the US sometime soon. And I'm talking about the meteorites, the actual pearls. They came out with the summer version. It has the paisley packaging and it has like rose, like a deep rose colored pearl in there. And it's really pretty and I think quite different from what they've done. Anyway, this isn't about Guerlain. I was on the Harrods site and I came across this lipstick and I have not seen this on any other site. I'm assuming it will come to the US probably relatively soon, but this is the Lavender Extreme Lipstick and I am not really a purple lipstick fan, but when I saw it and I saw how iridescent it was, I kind of, I don't know, I kind of rolled the dice and thought it's probably going to be kind of sheer. I don't think it's going to be like a super opaque deep purple, and I was right. So I'll have swatches, and of course I'll put this on my lips as well for you guys, but it is very, very pretty, and it does come in this gorgeous packaging. So we'll be talking about all of this a little bit later on, but I'm going to go ahead and apply some foundation. This is the Flawless Glow Foundation with an SPF 30. This is like the Tom Ford Serum Foundation, and I have it in the shade Too Buff. So I'm going to shake this up a bit since it's such a thin serum-like foundation, and it's got that really annoying dropper application. I'm just going to drop some onto the back of my hand here and dab some on. So this foundation has a pretty strong lavender scent, and I mentioned this when I reviewed it, and I know lavender is supposed to be a very calming kind of oil, but I don't personally like it, and in the past I've had sensitivities to it. If I may sneeze. No, it passed. If I like inhale, you know how there's like lavender sachets that you can put into your drawer to kind of freshen up your pretties, and I bought one of those ones before I realized I kind of had a little bit of a sensitivity to lavender, and it just made me sneeze uncontrollably. And I know in the past when I've applied things with lavender oil onto my skin, it's bothered my skin, but this one has been fine. And I don't know, like my skin definitely is changing a bit since I'm getting older. It's actually becoming less sensitive to things like that, and my eczema also is a little bit less frequent and angry, and I like to think of it that my skin is becoming a little bit more resilient, but the reality is it's probably just slowly dying from the inside out. So anyway, this has a very strong lavender scent, and you should be aware of that if you do have a sensitivity to that, because I remember getting a lot of comments when I reviewed this foundation that people were, you know, not so happy with the lavender scent and that they didn't like lavender either. And I really thought I was in the minority there, but it seems like lavender is not people's favorite. So anyway, what is the, dog hair? Dog hair. This foundation has pretty light coverage, as suspected. So I had a Tom Ford foundation, but I forgot. I decluttered it, or actually I threw it away because it was too old. I'd had it for a while, and I just never replaced it. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my Clé de Peau Radiant Radiant Corrector for Eyes, and I have it in the color Ivory. I haven't used this guy in a while. I don't know why. I love this. I think the Armani stretchable power concealer, I feel like that's just been the MVP for a while. So anyway, it'll be nice to use this. It really has such a lovely finish, and I think it goes nicely with this glow foundation. And we have a very special guest star here today, just stealing the show, and they're a twin. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, raise your hands if you wish Tom Ford had a loose powder. I do have a pressed powder from Tom Ford, so I'll use that to set my makeup. It is the translucent finishing powder in two ivory fawn. I don't know why I'm showing that to you. It's like useless. It's just powder. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Refer 05 brush. This is like a great cheek brush, and I'm just gonna set around the eyes first. All right, so time for the new stuff. Let's take a close look at some of these palettes. Let's talk about Flicker first. So Flicker is the one with the gold and the deep brown shades. And this is definitely very well suited for someone with a much deeper skin tone than me. I am very fair, but I have to say I got this because I was pleasantly surprised when I got the Chanel Medium Bronzer Highlighter Duo, and that is this guy right here. And this looked very, very dark to me, which is why I didn't order it at first. I got it after you all suggested me getting it, and I love this. So there was a small part of me that thought maybe this was going to be close. I think deep down I knew it was much deeper, and it is. It's a deeper kind of like chocolatey brown, and I can try and use it as bronzer. We'll do that today. I'm going to try and use it as bronzer, but I think what I end up with are basically two very, very large pans of eyeshadow for me. But I had to get it because I thought it was so beautiful and I wanted to show it to you guys. And, you know, and again, I did want to see if it was going to be kind of close to the Chanel. So here's some swatches of the Flicker, and you can see the gold is a very yellow toned warm gold, and the chocolate brown is very deep. So what we'll do is put this on as bronzer. I think what I'm going to do is take a very, very light fan brush and apply it that way. I think that is my safest bet. I'm going to take my Refer fan brush. I'm going to go into the Flicker shade and I'm just going to apply it right there. Yeah, I think even light-handed, it just is too, there's like a very, very cool undertone. Actually, if I angle the pan, do you see it? There's actually like a very black, sooty kind of like undertone to this brown. I think maybe you can see reflections of it there. So I feel like it just ends up looking just kind of like gray on my skin tone. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it looks, to me, it looks very, very gray on the skin. So I think on deeper skin tones, this may be a good contour color. I don't know if the same rules apply for deeper skin tones. I'm no makeup artist. You know, for fair, lighter skin, the cooler the tone, you know, the more it looks like a shadow and it looks like contour. I don't know if the same rules apply for deeper skin tones. I'm guessing maybe, but because this is so cool, I'm guessing that maybe this is going to be a great contour for deeper skin tones. That is my guess, but if any of you out there have a deeper skin tone, please educate me down below in the comment section. Let me know if you're looking for a contour, if you're looking for cool shades as well. I'd be interested to hear. And even on the brush, can you see how like cool toned that is? It almost looks like a blackish brown. I'm just gonna add a little bit more to my cheeks so you guys can see it a little bit better, but I'm gonna probably stop here because this is like very clearly too deep for me. No surprise. So I'm going to take my powder brush actually and kind of buff that out a bit. I guess I should try and match on this side, so I'll just apply a little bit also to this side of my face. This would probably be good for under my chin. I'm thinking because the shadowing under here is so much darker. And soften it up a little bit with my powder brush. Okay, so there is the world's lightest application of this powder. Before I get into this powder, I'm gonna jump over to the Incandescent palette because I wanna use the blush in there. And that is this palette right here. So here's a close-up shot of this palette. And here are some swatches. All right, so let's go ahead and use this color for blush. I've got my Sonia G Cheek Pro brush. And ooh, that's, wow. That's very pigmented. So be careful with this blush. Let's see if it blends out nicely. I do love the tone of it. That's very pretty. Wow, I put on way too much. Let's take this powder brush again and see if I can dull this down. You guys know I like a really heavy cheek, but this is ridiculous. Okay, that's much better, right? It's not, am I kidding myself? I think it's much better. I think I blended it out okay. Let's go ahead and apply a lot less actually to the other side here. Oh, I overcorrected. Let me pick up a little bit more. Here we go. This is a really beautiful tone. I generally like terracotta kind of cheek shades. I know it's very deep for my skin tone, but I do like a really strong cheek. But this is like a couple ticks cooler than the terracottas that I'm used to. It's like a slightly pink leaning terracotta. This is a very unique color for me. I don't have anything quite like this where it's kind of like, I think upon first glance it looks very terracotta, but like it kind of shifts to something just a little bit cooler. And it definitely, you see that on the cheek. Like you can see the warm rustiness, but then it's like, oh, like the pink really kind of just like brightens up your face. It's very, very interesting. Well, so far I haven't talked about the formula because I assume you guys are familiar with the Tom Ford Mood Light palette, but if you're not, these are like a baked gelée. Tar babies would be so proud. This is like a baked gelée formula. And so there isn't a lot of kick up. There's just some powder that kind of comes out, but you do need to use, well, not with this because it's so pigmented, but sometimes people find it difficult to pick up powders like that. And so I would suggest like a natural haired brush, something like a goat hair. These are goat hairs as well. Something with a little bit more oomph in your brush is what I would suggest for these. But I love, love, love this formula because you get a very kind of like sheer application that can be built up and quickly, like you guys just saw, but it can be applied very sheerly so you have like a nice wash of color. So that's just a few words on the formula, and let's go ahead and apply this as highlighter. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to save the Flicker gold highlight because I know that's going to look absurd on my cheeks. I'm going to save that for my eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and use this incandescent highlight for my cheeks. And I'm going to use my Sonia G Sculpt 2 brush. This is the original Sculpt 2 brush. So the hairs are a little bit shorter. It's going to give me, which I probably don't need, but it's going to give me like a stronger laydown of the product. So yeah, I dipped it in ever so slightly. So I'm going to knock a little bit of that off. And oh, hi. Hello. I should probably avoid my new friends there. So I'm just going to leave the highlight down here on my cheeks. That is such a bright highlight. Holy smokes. Oh, wow. I'm going to take my powder brush again because this is like really, really bright. I'm trying to decide whether or not I think it's a good tone for my skin. Yeah, well, I'm going to make it work because that is incredible. Holy goodness. Wow, I was not expecting that. I swatched these, and I think in the swatch, you know, it looked like a very pretty highlight, but I was not expecting this. This is like super wet, high shine. Actually, you know what these remind me of? His highlighting duo, that sheer highlighting duo that he came out with a couple years ago now at this point. This is like that. This is like that. Probably the same formula too, I'm guessing. Yep. Goodness me. Should I put some down my nose? Just a little. I'm like scared of this highlight now. Whew. That is a bangin' highlight. I know a lot of people always ask me, do you think it accentuates texture, you know, for a particular highlight? I think highlights, full stop, are going to accentuate texture. I mean, what it's doing is it's reflecting light. I mean, I think it's just going to bring attention. It's basically spotlighting any texture that you have. But I do think some highlighters are probably like a little bit worse than others. I think that this one is going to accentuate your texture. I have texture, but I don't have a lot of texture here where I put highlight, but I am looking closely and I feel like it's like magnifying anything that I have there. So if you're worried about texture, this may not be the highlight for you. If you have texture and you don't care, this is the highlight for you because this is incredibly bright. I can't like stop looking at my cheeks. Oh, I'm sorry, my AC kicked in, so you'll probably hear some humming. Anyway, what I wanted to also show you were comparisons to the Mood Light. So the Mood Light palette is the original palette. He came out with this I mean, many, many years ago, and this has been the only one. What I did want to mention was I felt like this incandescent looked familiar, and I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Tom Ford came out with a blush duo. It wasn't this baked gelée, it was like more pressed powder. It actually looked more like my pressed powder pans. It looked more like this. It was 2 of them, and I feel like if I can find a picture of it, I'll post it right here. But I feel like this is almost like a similar color story. But anyway, in terms of these skin illuminating powder duos, this has been the only one for a while. So let me just go ahead and show you some swatches of all of these kind of next to one another. So I have the Mood Light swatched, and then I have the Incandescent swatched, and then the Flicker swatched all the way to the right. So the Mood Light is similar to Flicker in that I feel like it's a highlight bronzer combo, where the Incandescent I feel like is a highlight blush duo. This palette I find very interesting because I think it works for, you know, fair, light to medium skin tones. But I do think if you have like a medium skin tone, medium to deep skin tone, you could use this as a highlight, because this formula, again, because it's that baked gelée, it's kind of sheer. So it does let your skin tone kind of peek through, and it kind of helps with like shade matching in a way. And I just love this duo. I did not like this when I first purchased it, but it definitely grew on me. It just has such a gorgeous sheen. I think what I'm going to do is actually try and put some of this in my bronzer area, just so you guys can get a sense of this powder. But the finish of this powder is very, very similar to what you see on my cheeks, the Incandescent and the Flicker. But let me just go ahead and apply some of the deeper shade onto my cheeks. I have my Sonyoji Inochige brush. Here, just apply it right here. Oh, do you see that? I don't even really have that much texture there, and it's really kind of like showing it off there. But anyway, that is the sheen that you get from these powders. It's similar to this. This one I feel like is just a little bit brighter. This is a little bit softer. But if you're going to put any of these products like all over your cheeks, be prepared to be like very shiny, very, very shiny. All right, let me go ahead and just do my brows with my Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel. Okay, so my plan is I'm going to apply the deeper shade to the outer portion of my lid towards the center, and then I'm going to use the gold shade like on the inner portion towards the middle and just have those 2 colors on my lids. We'll see how that goes. So I've got my Sonyoji Blender Pro brush. Very rarely are cheap products as pigmented as eyeshadows, but I think these are. This is a very lovely brown tone for my eyes. Next, I'm going to take a Tom Ford number 13 brush and go into the gold shade and lay that down. Wow, that is an amazing gold eyeshadow. I'm just going to take a fluffy blending brush that has no product on it and just run it kind of over everything, make sure everything is blended out nicely. Then I'm going to take my Sonyoji Builder 3 brush. I'm going to go back into this dark brown shade and line my eyes with it. All right, there it is on my eyes. I'm impressed. I really like it. I think that gold is really, really pretty. And I think when it mixes with the deeper brown, it makes such a nice kind of like caramelly color. So pretty. Okay, let's put on some mascara. I'm just gonna curl my lashes. And I'm gonna use the Tom Ford Lash Raise Mascara. I use that in my Playing with Makeup video. And I just wanted to mention that I really liked it. It wore really, really well all day. I was surprised, actually. I kind of liked it the more the day went on. I was just kind of appreciating it more and more. And I think in the video I mentioned, like, you know, I didn't think it was doing much for my lashes, but I also kind of like that. I don't need a lot of, not that I don't need, that's the wrong word. I need a lot of stuff when it comes to my eyelashes. But when it comes to mascara, I feel like because of my eyelashes, I can't really use ones that are too clumpy. Like, I'm very picky about my mascara because I don't know, my eyelashes don't wear it well. So I thought I would use this again today because, like I said, I'm really enjoying it. So this is the one that came out with the Soleil collection this past summer. Well, it's now, but this past spring it was released. And I think the claims were mainly that it was supposed to lengthen and kind of separate your lashes. It had the craziest description. I remember I was reading it off of either the Beautylish site or anyway, it had a really crazy description and I couldn't even really quite figure out what the purpose of the mascara was, but I think it is to like lengthen and kind of separate. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys can see, but like not a ton of volume per se. Like it's not really clumpy, but I feel like it's made my lashes just, I don't know, look like a better version of themselves. So I am really, really enjoying this mascara a lot more than I thought I would. Let's move on to the lipstick. So this is the Lavender Extreme lipstick. I am extremely excited for it. So again, I could only find it on Harrods.com, and of course I'll link to it down below, but I had to get it because of, one, the limited edition packaging. It's all chrome, and they released this lipstick with the Lavender Extreme scent that they came out with, and that is also packaged in like all chrome. The bottles look really, really beautiful. I am just not the biggest fan of lavender. I think I talked about that when I put the foundation on. So I was a little bit scared that this was actually going to smell like the fragrance, but this isn't the first time they've released a lipstick with a fragrance collection. The Fucking Fabulous lipstick was with the Fucking Fabulous scent, and also the Lost Cherry. That was also a special edition, and that was with the Lost Cherry fragrance. And neither of those smelled like the actual fragrance. So I was pretty sure this was not going to smell like lavender, and I was right. So this does not smell like the actual perfume. This smells like any other Tom Ford lipstick. It has that kind of vanilla-y scent to it, that kind of sweet scent to it, which I don't love, but I like better than lavender. So here is a close-up of the lipstick, and it has such a fun shift. It's a very, very cool toned lipstick. It kind of shifts to like a blue, and then here is a swatch of it. So you can see there's like little glittery bits in there that kind of like do the color shifting, and you can see that it's also not that opaque, which I was also kind of betting on. So I'm really glad that it has more of a sheer kind of quality to it. So let me go ahead and actually apply it to my lips. So this is definitely not the face look that I would do with a lip like this. I would probably do a very cool toned like gray eye look with a lip like this, or maybe even like a pinky purple. I don't know, maybe that's too matchy, but there is the lipstick. Isn't that fun? I like how it's very cool toned. I'm happy that it's not like an orchidy kind of purple, like a purple pink leaning, because I just feel like this is a little bit different. It's a little bit different for me. I know this is not like a brand new color by any means, but this is definitely a little bit different for me. I think even with these eyes, it looks okay. It's just I think my cheeks are too warm for this lip color. I'll just walk around like this all day. It feels like any other Tom Ford lipstick, even though there's like those little color bits in there. I don't feel any grittiness at all. It's very smooth. There's no sign of that at all. And that is all the new Tom Ford that I wanted to show you today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions down below. I'm loving everything. I am really, really blown away, especially by that highlight in the Incandescent palette. It is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions down below in the comment section. I will leave a link to everything that I have on my face down below in my description box, as I always do. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.